Hello, this time we're talking about events in GDevelop. Now, events are the basic structure for programming in this environment. For instance, in this case, we have here our scene and we have our hero Twiggy, and we want Twiggy to move when we press the left or right button in the keyboard. So what we're going to do is create events. And events, let's start by adding an event. An event is formed by two parts. On the left side we have the condition, and on the right side we have the action. So if a certain condition is true, then the action will take place. And condition in this case relates with pressing a certain key. So if the user presses a key, then Twiggy will move. If the key is left, it moves to the left. If the key is right, it moves to the right. So let's start by adding a condition. So the condition we want is related with keyboard. So if a certain key is pressed, and in this case we want the right key. So if now we have here the condition, right key is pressed, and let's add the action. So the action is Twiggy is going to move, and for Twiggy to move, what we are going to do is sort of pusher. We are going to apply a force, which is like pushing the object, and for instance we are going to say when we push her, then she's going to move with a certain speed, in this case pixels per second, and this is a permanent push, so she's always going to be pushed in a certain direction. And now here is our event complete. If the right key is pressed, then we are going to add to Twiggy a permanent force, 0 degrees to keep it horizontal, and the speed is 25 pixels per second. And now if we preview, so here is Twiggy, I'm now pressing right, and Twiggy starts moving to the right. And what we can do now is exactly the same thing, but to the left. So if the user presses the left button, then we are going to move Twiggy to the left. So it's exactly the same event, but before we say right key, now we say left key. In this case, then what we are going to do is move Twiggy by applying a force. Now the angle is exactly the opposite as before, so it's 180 degrees. We are going to use the same speed, and also it's a permanent force. And you can see basically very close and very similar events. And if we preview now, if I press right, Twiggy moves right. If I press left, Twiggy moves left. And this is very much the basics of events. Of course, this can be more complex, because we can group events, we can have events which actually do not have a condition, so they are always executed. We can have events that are inserted or embedded in other events, so we can make more complex all this process, but this is the basis for our programming work.